I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, January the 25th. And there's big doings in Red Bluff, California for the rest of this week. We'll talk about it a little bit more later, but you can catch it all on dvauction.com. Look at the board here on Wednesday. Late April live cattle futures up 35 cents to end the day on Wednesday at 125.15. February spot live cattle up 70 cents to end the day at 125.42. And these packers are going to have to pay more for cattle if we don't lose everything we've gained here the last couple of days of the week. March feeder cattle down 57 cents to end the day on Wednesday at 146.40. January feeders down 47 cents at 148.15, and now back up to a pretty good premium to what the cash index level's at. But not really much fat trade to speak of so far this week. Have had a few cattle come in through mandatory price reporting with USDA. About 900 head have sold through the week. Pretty much steady with last week at 123 to 123.5, but we have not established a market for this week. It will be higher unless we see a big fail in the board here on Thursday and Friday, but we're looking pretty good to gain another buck or two at least this week on fat cattle. They had a small sale in the Fed Cattle Exchange, about 500 head on there. Not really anything to speak of, although they did PO a pin at 123.75 because they know it's going to be higher too, unless, like I say, we see a big crash in the board late in the week. Their slaughter is continuing to run behind what it needs to be, with the weather causing significant delays up north. 316,000 so far this week. That compares to 353,000 last week and 338,000 the same week a year ago. But your feeder market on Wednesday late, your real-time index was settled at 147.33. That was down $1.12. And it just seems like this cash feeder market is kind of leveled out here after we saw the big dive over 2 weeks ago, and then we saw it jump back up last week, and then we saw everything kind of gain back where everything needs to be early this week, and now it's kind of settled out a little bit, and most of your significant sales were in the southern plains, and I think that has as much to do with that real-time index being down a little bit more than anything, because on Tuesday we saw some northern plains sales really show off some high prices there, and we just can't quite attain that in the southern plains. It is so dry, and the wheat is done. You still see some cattle out on wheat, but guys are hauling hay and they're supplementally feeding them. There's just not enough wheat pasture out there to sustain grazing right now, and surprisingly we still have good demand for lighter weight grazing cattle, because they're assembling them for grass already, and especially in the Midwest and in the northern plains, and that is really saving the market. And there's good demand for feeder cattle too, with cheap feed and just pretty much high hopes for feeding cattle right now. But you look at OKC West on Wednesday, they ended up with 13,400 head, with near 10,000 head of feeding type cattle on Wednesday. And they called those feeder steers steady to firm compared to last week's big gains there. Did mention that some 800 to 900 pound steers were a buck lower, but the feeder heifers were $2 to $4 higher straight through. And if you remember, on Tuesday they sold calves $4 to $7 higher. Another sale in the southern plains on Wednesday. Winter Livestock in Dodge City, Kansas had around 4,100 head. Called their feeders steady to $3 higher, and not a good test of calves, but they sold with a higher undertone. I told you we would mention Red Bluff, California, and they are having a big cowboy gathering there the last part of this week, and there's pockets in California that are more cowboy than West Texas, I tell you, and that is one of them, but got some big sales going on there. Western Video Market will have an internet sale that you can view and bid right on dvauction.com, or you can go to Western Video Market's website and tie right into the DV Auction console there. But that's here on Thursday. Around 7,000 head of feeder cattle and replacement stock. Starts at 11 a.m. Central, so that be more like 9 o'clock in the morning out west. But on Friday and Saturday, they've got a big gelding horse sale. They've got stock dogs. They've got a good set of breeding bulls on there. And like I said, you can get on dvauction.com. You can watch all that. Get on there and register for the gelding sale so you can participate in that. But you might just want to get on there and enjoy watching all that because, like I said, big doings in Red Bluff, California. Something else that's going on Friday, and you can watch on dvauction.com, is Burwell, Nebraska is going to have a big sale with lots of long strings of the best cattle that you can find anywhere in the world, as far as feeding type cattle and some grazing calves too. But 5,500 to 6,000 head of cattle, and I looked at their listings there, and it's just string after string after string. Long strings of cattle, and coming off some of the best herds of cattle anywhere in the world, right there in the sand hills of Nebraska. And that's Friday, and you can watch and bid on that at dvauction.com also. But look at some individual quotes on Wednesday. Huss, Platte Valley Market in Kearney, Nebraska, sold some steers there at $415 on Wednesday. Had 54 head of steers, weighed 717 pounds at $163. And at the big sale in OKC West in El Reno, Oklahoma, 5 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, sold 66 head of 757 pound steers at $154.50. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.